Hello, my name is Chirag Desai. I'm the Head of Digital and Channels Solutions here at the Jockey Club. And I'm joined here today by Mark Carr, the Chief Architect here at the Jockey Club. And we're here to discuss embracing the event-driven future. By that, I mean how the Jockey Club will use EDA to drive better, richer customer experiences for all of our customers here in Hong Kong and beyond. What is the agenda for today? The first thing we'll cover is who we are. So what is the Jockey Club? What do we do? The second is what are we trying to achieve and how we begun our journey towards moving to the EDA world. There are a number of other topics we'll cover, including the journey of messaging in its various forms here at the club. And as the Chinese say, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. So it's how do we begin these steps towards moving forward, including how do we train our people, what is the vision for architecture and our club, and then towards the end, some information about how we're using PubSub and the event portal. And at the end, we'll do some Q&A. So who are we? The Hong Kong Jockey Club is one of the oldest institutions here in Hong Kong. It is a world-class racing and sports betting organization. It is a fully vertically integrated business with our equine business, our racing, our membership, our corporate, and our wagering businesses all built and managed primarily in-house. We offer football betting, racing betting, and we also run the Mark 6 lottery here for the government. And our customers in our last full financial year wagered just over $28.2 billion US with us here in Hong Kong and through our partners abroad. We are also one of the global top 10 charitable institutions in the world. And we also have a wide network of charitable endeavors here in Hong Kong. We have a full retail network. We also run 3 racetracks, one here, in China and 2 in Hong Kong. And we also, as I said earlier, we have a network of global partners, both in the US and Europe and other locations, who are helping us to drive and increase our racing, or in particular horse racing, turnover and product as we move forward. What I'd like to do in the next slide is begin to introduce how we do event-driven architecture and why. But primarily, I'd like to take you through the idea of event. An event in our world, in betting, could be anything. Could be the start of a match, a yellow card, a corner, a foul, a free kick. So those events drive pricing. That drives what we offer our customers and the opportunities they have to wager with us. So events are and event-driven outcomes are very, very important in the betting world. And this is why technologies such as the event mesh are very, very key to us. With rapid technology advancements, our customers will require ever faster experiences, the gamification, if you will, of the betting experience. And this is why technology such as this is very, very key to us. However, it's not just about the technology. We also need to have business outcomes that we can use to leverage better outcomes for our customers. In this case, we had a large and long consultation period with our colleagues in the business, and they advised 8 key areas which they said, if you could improve these areas with the technology, that would be a good driver for us moving forward. They would like faster time to market, the optimized cost of making even the smallest change. As I said before, events are very important to us. So how do you reduce the latency and the consistency of the information, particularly prices, that we offer our customers? How do we differentiate our customer experience? How do we ensure we have reusable UI? How do we ensure that we are able to provide alternate and tailored customer experiences to our customers, whether that's through multivariate testing or A/B testing? How do we get better analytics? And how do we end up building shared services that can be used across all of our various business units, whether it's corporate, membership, or racing or wagering? I'm now going to introduce or hand over to Mark, who's going to take you through the journey of architecture and enterprise architecture and the target vision that we have.
Okay, so thank you, Chirag. My name is Mark Carr. I've been the Chief Architect at the Jockey Club for the past 7 years, and I am an enterprise architect of many years' experience. The diagram you'll see in front of me is basically the architecture on a page. And if there are any architects out there, you will see that modern day architectures are very similar in their outlook, and you'll see that this one is specifically technology neutral. That's a key to the architecture for the club, because we want it to be composable in the future, so we can slot in services, remove services in a CI/CD type fashion that allows us to be malleable as an architecture. You will see there a number of bullet points that building on Chirag's point where he said reusable UIs. We're looking at things like low code, mashups at the UI level. We're looking at data capture via things like messaging, obviously. We're also looking at things like query languages using REST to do initial state. So the idea is to expose the data, so it becomes a data-centric architecture, and use the events driven by the business processes to generate the data that is transported to the services, whether they be other services that are internal or customer-facing services. This slide is entitled The Journey. The event-driven architecture is an enabler. Chirag mentioned analytics and big data type solutions. What we are attempting to do is use canonical data formats on the message EDA infrastructure to provide an analytics service to the organization as a whole. So you will see that the bar in the middle basically is our transport, and that's our event mesh, service mesh, which has APIs exposed to the mesh. The mesh transports the data to the services and to the clients. But on the next slide, you'll see that the journey's end is with an analytical approach. The analytical engine will connect to the root node of the event-driven services, and it will ingest every single message that is in our organization. There's an architecture saying. The architecture saying, or the latest saying, data is very important. Data is the new water, not the new oil. And it is important to capture every bit of data. It is cheaper to capture every bit of data than it is to decide whether to throw it away. You can then use any kind of analytics tools to do look for patterns across data and look for insights that can provide it back to the business to provide business insights and provide business planning. The event-driven architecture is the sole way of getting that information into the analytics platform in a format that can be used. So with the next slide, I will pass it back to Chirag, who will basically tell us where we are on that particular journey.
Thanks, Mark. So Mark has explained the vision, the mission, the target, if you will. So where are we on the journey? So in a few slides' time, we'll discuss some of the things we've done in the past. But right now, we are undergoing a 4-year technology transformation program, of which my teams are at the forefront of driving this through. We're building a number of key elements. Some of them are, the majority are foundational, if you will. So we're building an on-premise private cloud. We're building a service mesh, so this, moving to Kubernetes containers, and then building an orchestration layer that allows us to manage those. We're also building a new customer identity verification solution. We're building a UX UI framework. We're building, obviously, on top of Solus, the event mesh. We're building a brand new UX UI framework and a new enterprise CMS system, and then a number of applications that consume those to prove the slice of the stack that we are looking to build up and migrate our existing applications to over the next few years. I'm glad to announce that the first, albeit not customer-facing slice the full size from the application all the way down to the private cloud was actually released to production a couple of weeks ago. And we're now bedding that technology in and completing the development of the full development of that app so that we can get it ready for paying customers, hopefully later this year. Clearly, also on one of the diagrams you can see there is our App Dynamics monitoring screen, and in the top right, the 5 green circles you can see there are actually the first set of common services in our common services platform. So those are primarily transaction services, and they are connected directly to the event mesh. So we're just showing that this is actually a screen from our production environment, and this stuff is actually now working and operating as expected, and very much hopefully aligned to what Mark has been taking you through over the last couple of minutes. This is effectively a very high level view of the concepts that Mark has been describing. So this is, in a cube, this is our common services platform with all the various components that I mentioned in the previous slide. But the key driver here is, we are building to be cloud native, event driven, building microservices, ensuring that we are able to pipe data out of the platform for more insight and data analysis to then feed that back in again to build better experiences for our customers. And obviously, underpinning that a lot is the mesh architecture. At the top row, obviously, you can see that we are looking at a more omni or multi-channel solution. So, bearing in mind that we do have a retail estate here in Hong Kong, we have on-course betting facilities, we have our equine. So we collect a lot of data, whether it's horse telemetry, horse data, racing data, football information, all of those things we need to collect and ensure that our various types of customers, and customers are both paying customers in our betting apps, but they're also our members, our horse owners, and various other institutions that we have here. We're also looking into doing white labeling and more commingling with our partners. And obviously we have a cross-border element here as well, because we do run a race course in mainland China. Now, I guess, as I mentioned earlier, this is where we are today. But where do we begin? This journey has begun some many years ago, and Mark will take you over the next few minutes through where do we actually come from to get to where we are today.
You can see from the slide in front of you that the journey on messaging started even before I joined the club. It was an edict that came out from the CIO, and at the time we were using a different technology we're using today. But effectively, we started with something called CAP, which was Common Application Platform. The Common Application Platform was basically a message-based platform that provided interaction between all our services, or that was the target. However, the use of that technology was not mature within the organization, and basically we started passing files over the message-based infrastructure and various other bits of data that weren't really messages. And the journey is now moving towards the event-driven architecture, is actually educating people more than just the technologies. It's understanding how an event-driven architecture hangs together. It is a very different architectural pattern than just message interchange. It is understanding cues and topics. It's understanding the events that drive those cues and topics and their names. It's understanding the data that interacts between those events. The PubSub implementation is a very difficult thing to do in an organization that is very used to having complete control, rather than just fire and forget and hope that the next service will pick it up. There's lots of education materials that need to be done. There's lots of familiarization. There's lots of playing to be done, as we say in the architectural world, so that people can get used to these particular technologies and techniques and architectures, which is why in 2013, we were in a very different place than we are now. And now we are putting that education in place. Next slide. So you can see from that slide there that the journey has been almost a different paradigm. It's been stretched in two ways. Okay, the pull towards messaging and the pull towards event driven are two different dimensions. And for anybody out there who's starting this particular journey, you should embrace that particular fact that event driven architecture and the style of event driven architecture really does mean that your people need to change. There needs to be a transformation in the way that you understand how microservices exist, how messages are transported, and how you actually manage this services under load. Chirag touched on the fact that we have an extreme amount of load during football and racing. That is it traditionally means we buy big machines and we load them up to as much as we can. In the event-driven, cloud-based arena, that's not how you do things. And you start to use multiple services to provide the same functionality. All this is new to the organization, or was new to the organization. All this needs to be trained into the people. That's what we're doing as part of this particular process. It's not just about the architecture, it's about the skill sets, and it's about the delivery aspect. It's a different paradigm. Again, as an architect coming for many years, it's like doing WC3 again, but just for internal event-driven. Can I have the next slide, please? Okay, so this is the circle of life, if you like. It's the training and familiarization processes that need to be done. And I'm not going to read out all those particular elements to you. You can read that, and I'm sure the slides will be made available at the end. But it's a big circle, and it doesn't stop. The circle is like a spiral with the arrow basically going back in again at the top. Technology refreshment is important. The understanding is important, but this is the journey that we are on, and it is not reversible at this moment in time. Technologies change. I'm not going to say that they don't. Things will replace certain elements, but the fact that we're using open standards and the fact that we are developing towards an open framework means that we should be able to swap those technologies out with as little problem as we can. But obviously, there's always going to be some issues when you move from one technology to another. And with that, I'm going to hand back to Chirag, who is delivering that journey as part of the architectural transformation of the club.
Thanks, Mark. So, how have we been training our people to meet the challenges of our EDA future? So, we've been working with our partners locally here at Sonove, and obviously the team from Solus, to arrange, notwithstanding the wonders of coronavirus, remote sessions and training to upskill our people. So thus far, we've had 13 sessions on the principles of EDA, hands-on demonstrations, as well as a case study. And the outcome of that case study has actually been the building of the first iteration of our event mesh. So our colleagues, the 39 hours they spent in those sessions, in the Hong Kong office and remotely, as well as our colleagues in Shenzhen. The output of that has been not only been their training and their certification, but it's also been the building of an actual working event mesh. So it's a great outcome for the team, as well as Solus as well, with their great help. Again, we've had 136 of our colleagues participate across Hong Kong and Shenzhen. Across a number of departments, just not my own, but many others as well, because all these things have to come together to build a solution for our customers. And we've also agreed to fund training for all of our colleagues in IT. So anybody who has who's either about to embark on a project that requires EDA, or more awareness of EDA, or who just has an interest and wants to be certified, we made that available to ensure we embed and embrace and ensure that as many of our colleagues are able to get involved with EDA. With that, I'm going to hand back to Mark, who's going to discuss a little bit more about what we've actually delivered.
Okay, thanks, Chirag. what we're going to talk about now is the importance of collaboration. The big blue bar at the bottom of the screen and the yellow writing is really important from an enterprise architecture viewpoint. It is not a good idea to have half an organization or a department or a business unit embrace the event-driven architecture whilst the other departments or the other business units are working to a different architectural paradigm. The enabling EDA, going towards the target state across the enterprise is the only way you'll get success. Putting EDA in a subdivision is not going to work, which means that we are currently working across our delivery teams, which Chirag mentioned earlier on, to make sure that everybody is moving towards the same target state. On the bottom left-hand corner of the circle, you'll see the governance. The governance in our organization is becoming a light touch. In the old days, it was very heavy, and it was making people move towards this particular event-driven architecture. But now the things are rolling, which is why there's a wheel there. The governance becomes light. The governance becomes making sure people are looking at the right attributes and using the right message types. They're making sure that they're using the same queue and topic structures and making sure that people are adhering to the principles of the event-driven architecture rather than making sure that they've got a deep technical adherence to the architecture as a whole. But as it says there, cross-collaboration is a key to success. The area at the top where it says one club, one team, one vision is our internal mantra that everybody will follow the same event-driven architecture and deliver that one vision which I put up earlier. Next slide. And we're moving towards the portal, the PubSub event portal. We haven't got it yet, but we are currently evaluating its appropriateness, which we will hopefully manage to secure the event portal. It'll give us the ability to view what's going on, who's using what services we need to deprecate. And it will give us a good idea in the governance side of it, what services need to change in order for them to get more reuse. The thing that I didn't say about the architecture in the club, but it said it on the slide, is that the key to the architecture is reusing the shared components, and Chirag touched on shared components earlier on, across the club, so that membership is a membership service, membership data is with the membership service, and it is not replicated, it is sourced at membership, and it is delivered to other services when an event is happening. So if a member changes his status in terms of his segment, then that information is distributed as required by the membership services to the other services that need it. And the event designer. I'm not going to go into the details of the event designer because at the moment we're just again evaluating it. But the event designer will have us using the event designer tool to compose services or compose applications from the Lego blocks, which are the services and the event triggers. This will allow us in the future to build solutions extremely quickly from building blocks that are already there, from services that are in production that are already stable, from services that are in production that are already in the cloud and are expandable. It will also help with our governance, as I said before. We still need to change these over time, and the event designer will allow us to be malleable in changing those events and services. The event catalog builds on the two attributes that we just talked about: a list of events, being able to orchestrate those events, propose new services. The catalog is going to be extremely important over time because the catalog is a list of what we have. We will use the governance process to tell us that we can't create new services because we've already got it, it's already there, Tell us why you can't use what there is in the catalogue. If there's a good excuse, then we'll consider it. If there's not a good reason, then it stays as it is. And back to Chirag, I think, for the Q&As.
Any questions?